Unconsciousness begins with asking yourself this one hilarious question. How quickly or easily do you become agitated? Because what I have noticed is that I have worked with beings at a variety of levels of consciousness. Beings that have woken up on certain levels, but not worked through their emotional density on another level. And especially when you wake up out of identity and you think, oh, I'm not the body. You try to disown the emotional density that is your course of mastery. And when you have disowned your emotional density and you are in some sort of state of presence, that's not liberation, that's actually a state of disassociation. And what's amazing is that the qualities of awakened consciousness and the descriptions of disassociation are like next door neighbors. They're very close. And what I have seen, and I'm saying this as just an offering, an observation, that I have seen beings with very sacred Sanskrit names, dressed to the nines in the holiest of holies garb, mala beads like they're the Mr. T of spirituality. An entire crystal store on their being. And what I watch is the speed at which they go from zero to agitation. That's where the wolf exposes itself in sheep's clothing. How quickly or easily do you become agitated? It's hard not to make awakened consciousness an aspiration, because I speak to you from experience. I've had a lot of healing over the last 6 months, and it's made me more bulletproof than I already was, and I become more and more, and you get to a certain space, and I'm just speaking from experience, and it's hard when I say this not to like salivate and want this. But there's a certain point where you become completely immovable, where you cannot be disrupted by life. And you're not in a defensive state. You're in a completely surrendered state. You're too close to life for life to even touch you. There's too much understanding for anyone to disrupt you. It's not like you learn how to not be agitated. You actually forget what it is to be agitated. You forget what it's like to be disrupted by someone else's subjective experience. Someone has a problem with you, it's actually curious. You kind of get interested, like they're talking about someone else. Like if someone had a problem with me, I'd love to hear more about that. A couple years ago, when we were getting this started, Julie called me one day and said, Matt, there's someone on YouTube who is blasting you in the comment section. And I said, can you ask them to elaborate on that? I'd love to know more. Imagine someone's problem with you being interesting to you. I'd love to hear more about that. How quickly or easily do you get agitated? Or in human terms, how easily or effortlessly do you flip the fuck out? You're on an elevator and it stops and the doors don't open immediately. Oh no. It's even more amazing when you see a spiritual ego, which I have also called a spiritual narcissist, who has learned some degree of mindfulness. I saw this at an event I was at one time before I started teaching, and I didn't know what I was seeing, and it amazed me. And I was seeing a spiritual narcissist who had learned about mindfulness. And what this means is that the person is pointing out other people's lack of mindfulness in an unmindful way. So there was a line of people leaving the sanctuary, because I was at someone else's retreat. I was at a chanting retreat. And the one person was talking to someone else, and the line wasn't moving to this person's desired rate of speed. And mindful spiritual narcissist said, "Do you mind there's other people here?" While not being mindful of someone else's experience. How amazing that can be, how can that be missed? I'm about to sneeze. Thank you. I might have to go for it. Thank you. But see, now the stage fright, see, it went away. So how quickly or easily do you get agitated? Let's just even make it more true to you right now. And again, it's not a judgment, it's just an evaluation. Just for one moment, think about the character in your current life. Who agitates you? Who gets you? In other words, name your Antichrist. Who gets you? And whoever that is, visualize their face in your heart, and you know what you say to them? Thank you. Thank you for helping me move further out of unconsciousness, away from blame, turning my problem back into a process. Thank you. Thank you for being ruthlessly ridiculous. Right? Who's the one person who doesn't play by any rule you subscribe to? Who turns your spiritual reality into a free-for-all? Who gets you? Who's that one person where for whatever reason, or maybe from your past, and just, you could be listening to David Pramal, light some candles, maybe some incense, do some of your spiritual stretches, this too shall pass. So it is, and so forth. I am that I am. And then there's that person that comes along and you're just like, oh, damn it. That fucking person right there. That person right there. All right, so here's the deal. I don't get agitated, but I'll tell you, I'll just be honest. Here's as close as I get to being agitated. I'm just gonna be honest about it. I'm not afraid. When you're awake, being a person and saying these things is a joy, because you know yourself. I don't get agitated, but you know what I have? I have one or two pet peeves. I do. And you know what? You know what I think about my pet peeves? They're fucking delicious. And when someone does this, it doesn't get me mad, it makes me laugh. That's as far as it goes now. I have a pet peeve because I'm an individual, divine in an individual form, and I'm allowed to have a pet peeve. I'll tell you what else I'm allowed to have. You know what I'm allowed to have? I'm allowed to have one fear. One childhood fear that's still there. I'm in a state of samadhi, all is one, I am that I am, and if a bee buzzes by me, I'm gonna do the flash dance. Do you know why? Because it might get me. People go, but Matt, nothing can touch consciousness. Yeah, well, bees have stingers. So I don't know how many pet peeves I have, to be honest. I don't think I have many. I know I have one specific one. And it's just one of those things where you go, right? Oh my God. It almost, like when you're unconscious, it burns, but when you're conscious, it just kind of tickles your stomach a little bit. And I was reminded of a pet peeve because it actually happened at the hotel last night. And it's just the littlest thing that makes you go, So, you ever been on an elevator and you're going to get off the elevator? Now, there's people that are going to get on the elevator, but they're trying to get on the elevator before you get off. I fucking hate that. You know what's even worse? They're trying to get on. They're not letting you off because they want to get on. And as they're turning to scooch by you, they say, "Excuse me. Oh, am I in your way? Sorry, I have the right of way. You have the yield position. I was here first. I get off because I have arrived to the floor you were already on. So let me off, and then you have all this space to enter." And even if they get on first, they can't go down until I get off. What's the advantage? What time are you saving? Doesn't agitate me, it just makes me kind of, just, what? All right, you know what my other pet peeve is? Why not, right? Laughter helps us to loosen the emotions that need to be healed. My second pet peeve, and this is something that I just philosophically do not resonate with. One day, I went to the grocery store, and I saw that I could either stand in line to be checked out, or I could do this thing called self-check, where I would take on the role of someone that works at a grocery store, and I could look up the codes of my vegetables, and I can do it all myself. I don't like that. I will stand in line and wait for someone to check me out for 25 minutes. And there could be no one in line for self-check. I will not do that. I despise that. It's funny. It's a little quirk, you know what I mean? It's okay to have quirks. You can have quirks. Be a human being. Doesn't have to agitate you. I say this to give you the space to be who you are. Is there anything that agitates you? What is able to agitate you? Who agitates you? And whoever agitates you, whatever agitates you, and I've said thank you to self-check many times, while rejecting it totally, I would rather risk my frozen foods defrosting in line and drive across traffic at lightning speed to get it in my freezer than do that. I did self-check once, and it was as bad as I thought. I scanned the things, and the system guy that says, "Wait for assistance." Why should I be in line? And she goes, "Is there a problem?" I said, "Yes, there's a problem." She goes, "What?" I said, "The problem is I don't work here." I don't know how any of this works. She goes, "We have to look up the code." I go, "Do you know why you know that? Because you've been trained." "Ma'am, do I invite you on my stage to lead a meditation?" "No, I don't." "Why are you asking me to do this?" "I don't know how to do it." So funny. Standing in line at the grocery store with my beautiful wife. She goes, "Oh, honey, do you want to do self-check?" "Sure don't." "Sure don't, honey." I'm gonna stand right here. Rather stand and do a meditation.